Hello, welcome to our week 43 video in our Through My Bible series here at St. John's. As we're coming up on the end of the year, we're down to our last 10 videos. So maybe instead of saying week 43, we should start a countdown. This is 10 of the last 10, and we will very quickly, it seems, be wrapping these up. And then, we're through the entire Bible in just 1 year. You had finished up the book of Jeremiah and moved into Lamentations this past week, and I asked you to pay attention to the structure and the content of Lamentations. Lamentations is really a series of 5 separate poems of sadness as the prophet Jeremiah wanders around the ruins of Jerusalem. But in its structure, it is amazingly detailed. There are 4 chapters that we call acrostic chapters, that is, chapters that begin with each successive letter of the Hebrew alphabet, 22 letters in all. So chapters 1, 2, 4, and then also chapter 5 consist of 22 verses. Chapter 3 consists of 66 verses, as the acrostic is tripled. And chapter 3 provides for us the real high point emotionally of the book of Lamentations, as Jeremiah, even in his sorrow over the destruction of the city, recognizes the sure promises and almighty power of God. You have those wonderful words in the middle of Lamentations chapter 3, "Your mercies are new every morning." You had also moved on through the epistles of Peter and finishing them up, reading the end of 1 Peter and then all of 2 Peter. And I asked you to sort of contrast those different epistles of Peter. They do flow together very nicely. And at the end of 2 Peter chapter 3, Peter does make a point of saying, I've written you these 2 epistles so that you can be grounded in the Word of God and then move on to spiritual maturity. And that's really, I think, the separating point between 1 Peter and 2 Peter. 1 Peter really has a good review of the basics of the Christian faith, including baptism. And 2 Peter is an exhortation to live a Christian life in a way that glorifies God now that we have faith. And that you have the very moving words of 2 Peter chapter 1. To your faith add moral consistency, moral superiority. Be as moral as you can be because you want to thank God and live a spiritually growing life. You're going to move on this week and start the book of Ezekiel, the fascinating book of Ezekiel, which begins as the people of Israel, or the people of Judah more specifically, have already been hauled off into exile, Ezekiel with them. God used the life of the prophet Ezekiel to give very vivid pictures of judgment and pictures that the people could understand of the way God was going about things. And so I just ask you to pay attention to those word pictures, actually the real life pictures that God gives Ezekiel in these first 15 chapters. We'll talk about them next week. And then as you also start the Gospel of John, pay attention to how the Gospel of John begins much differently than the other 3 Gospels. We'll talk about that next week as well. God's blessings on your readings this week, and as we start our countdown, we'll go from 10 to 9 next week.